What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Have y'all seen this whole thing about Biden with his cue card and the instructions at the meeting? And it flashed briefly. There's no need in showing you the video. It's better actually breaking it down by actually showing you and emphasizing exactly what was written on the cue card, in addition to giving our thoughts as to whether or not we think that Biden is truly the person for the jobs that we need done, or is he too old? Is he to a certain degree incapacitated? I've even heard reports of him having memory loss or some version of dementia, which we will really never know. But is he just a puppet? Are we giving Biden too much credit for being able to control what's going on from a policy perspective, our laws? Is he just somebody that's given something to read and emphasizing certain things, or is he really giving real input as a leader of the free world? So it says Biden flashes extremely simple cue card instructions at the meeting. Is he even? And then this is him right here. This is the cue card. Is he even built to not flash the cue card to show that he's not to an extreme level incapacitated or not having the ability to be able to do the job? So it says President Joe Biden accidentally flashed a cue card at the White House meeting on Thursday, offering a glimpse of simple instructions for the process of the meeting. Gave remarks in the Roosevelt Room to the gathering of state governors about a partnership with 11 states to speed up the growth of offshore wind industry and domestic supply chain in the U.S. The photographer documenting the event captured one of the documents Biden used during the meeting, a cue card titled "The President" with the title of the event and bulleted instructions seemingly for Biden. A photo of the list, which is somewhat blurry, can be seen below. Now, of course, you know that they broke this stuff down, but here's the question as we go through this, right? And I'm going to read to you exactly what's on the cue card. I understand that he is the president of the free world. This man is basically overseeing somewhere between 350 and 400 million Americans, international trade, wars. Who knows? Knows what goes on behind the scenes. Some backdoor deals. We all seen a Lord of War. I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? And I believe that everything is real that comes in these movies. It's not just made up. It comes from some source of truth, right? But we know that you have so much on your mind. You have so many people working for you, so on and so forth. So there has to be some level of delegation with the right people and doing their jobs. And so when you go in and you do briefings or there's these scheduled meetings, I understand that there has to be some instruction for you to go about doing things. But what bothered me in this whole thing is exactly what's going on. So if you see this card right here, even if we blew it up a little bit, right? You see the big U. Why is that in such large letters is what I'm wondering, right? But let's continue. So here was the instructions. You, in capital letters, enter the Roosevelt Room. Who else would be entering it if it's for me and it says president on it, right? And say hello to the participants. You take your seat. I wonder how much the person makes that's putting this together. Press enters. You give brief comments. This note was partially blocked by Biden's finger. That's what they were saying, but they was able to make it out. Press departs. You ask Liz Schuler, president of AFL-CIO, a question. Look at Rita coming in with all of those big old boxes of shoes for me. A question. So now you got to just ask Liz a question, which Liz is virtually joining. Thank the participants, and then you depart. Why is it in such big, bold letters as though he's not the one that's actually taking control of, implementing, rocking out with this meeting, and so on and so forth? No worries. Let's continue. It says, not unusual for a leader's press team to produce a memorandum of events, including instructions for the speaker. The White House press office did not immediately respond to comment. Of course, they're not going to respond to comment, but the simplicity of the instructions, they didn't just give you the whatever, so on and so forth. It had it in big, bold letters like you a child, included you depart at the end And I'm just wondering, like, he don't know that he got to leave. He don't know when to get up. It's just silly. Cause speculative comments among Biden's political opponents, including Stephen Miller, a far-right former presidential advisor. Miller tweeted in reference to the card, there need to be emergency hearings next year on the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment relates to the removal of a president who is incapacitated. There's no evidence that Biden is incapacitated. Right-wing news outlets also treated Biden being seen with such a list as a serious gaffe, with top figures at the Daily Caller, the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, and the satire site Babylon Bree commenting on it. At the event, Biden stuck with his often repeated stance connecting renewable energy to the economy. When I think climate, I think environment, I think jobs, blah, 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 blah. So here's the question, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to have these conversations, and you know, Roe v. Wade was just overturned this morning, and you got everything that's happening when it comes to inflation, and he got all of these talking points when it comes to gas prices, and then he's posturing as though they're not already in bed with big oil and acting like they want to tax Holiday and actually removing 18 cents off the gallon in order to make sure that we continue to drive the government deeper in debt. And come on. Anybody with a pulse, sorry about that. Anybody with a pulse can come up with these talking points, right? What's really going on? I'm curious, right? Is the leader of the free world just a puppet? And if he is just a puppet, who is the person that's pulling the strings behind there? And do we actually need to start having conversations as to whether or not he is capable of even continuing to run what we call the free world, the country? United States of America, that influences every other country that comes behind it. I think it's something worth asking a question about. And listen, this is not me criticizing Biden, right? Because whether you like it or not, no matter who's in office, they are still our president, and they have to do their job with our support, because without us, there is no free world. There is no great country, and he's still our president. So if somebody else was to come against him and say that's outside of this country and say your president is trash, I'm a defending, because he is still our president. And we have a election system, probably the most fair in the world, despite whether or not you agree with the electoral college system and how lines are drawn and all of that. He's still our president. So my concern in this conversation is genuine, in that I'm curious whether or not he has the ability to do his job effectively. God knows I would prefer to have him than Kamala Harris, Cam. I would prefer to have him instead of Cam. So again, I want to know y'all thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Is the Q card a cue or a clue as to whether or not our president really needs help, and he's not really the one that's pulling the strings in the first place anyway? All right. Let me know what y'all thoughts are. Make sure y'all join the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat if you're watching this as a premiere. And then more importantly, if you need to get in touch with me, make sure that you email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com, and then hit a like for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know what y'all thoughts are. I'm curious.